In this video, we'll explore how to use ChatGPT to stay organized and automate tasks, helping you to manage your time more efficiently and focus on what matters most. Let's start with projects, a really powerful way to keep your workspace organized. Projects let you group chats, files, and custom instructions in one place. If you're working on an assignment, you can keep everything from research, notes, documents, and chats neatly organized, and you can simply drag and drop those chats into a single project. With projects, ChatGPT also knows what information to reference so you get more precise output. You might be wondering, how is this different from a GPT? So projects help you organize your workspace. They're perfect for individual study sessions, personal planning, and grouping chats of a similar theme. GPTs, on the other hand, can be shared with classmates or study partners. They're actually specialized assistants that allow you to do specific repeatable tasks like analyzing data and getting a standardized output every time. For example, my co-workers use projects to keep ongoing threads organized. For example, one of them has a project dedicated to LinkedIn posts where they've uploaded all of their past content. And this ensures that ChatGPT drafts posts that match their tone of voice every time they need to write a new post. Let's start by creating a new project. In the interface, you navigate to Projects on the left-hand side and you click New Project. This is where you'll add the title of your project. In this example, I am going to create a project that helps me to manage my schedule and tasks. When you create a project, you're brought into this screen here. This is the screen where you can edit the project, upload files, and also add instructions. Let's do that first. Let's add some instructions. Here I'm saying that this is a centralized planner for college, work, and personal tasks. We're going to click Save. And now what we're going to do is we are going to upload some files. I'm going to upload a series of files that is going to help me to manage my time. This is things like a course syllabi, a to-do list, an overview of our exam timetable, a semester timetable. This means that when I'm working within a chat, the chat can reference the context within the files to help keep me on track. To do that, I simply click Add Files. And I'm going to add in all of the relevant documents. So you can see here that I have my to-do list, my part-time work schedule, a semester schedule, and also a course overview. And we're going to add those files. Great, so you can see that 7 files have been uploaded. I can remove those files if I want to, and I can also add additional files. Okay, so to recap, projects can help you in a number of ways. They're going to allow you to stay organized, and you can group related chats like homework, Q&A, reading materials, lab sheets, all in one project. To drag and drop a chat, simply click and drag into the project of your choice. Files allow you to upload context, and all of the chats within a project will reference this context. And of course, custom instructions allow you to create specialized instructions for the project. For example, tell ChatGPT to act like a study partner or reminder of specific textbooks to reference. These instructions apply to every chat within the project, saving you extra time from explaining and re-prompting a single chat. Let's move away from projects and let's talk more about GPTs. Really, we're moving from organization to automation. GPTs can be thought of as customized assistants for handling specific repeatable tasks. They are powered with instructions, so similar to what I just showed you in a project. They have knowledge. You can upload a file into a GPT that it can read to allow it to become an expert in a specific domain. And they have actions, which actually allow you to connect the GPT into external systems outside of ChatGPT to allow you to do specific actions and functions. Let me give you some examples. For studying, you could create a GPT to summarize your lecture notes. For writing, you could have a GPT to help you draft your essays. For coding, you could have a GPT to assist with debugging or also teaching you how to do new programming languages. For research, a GPT could help you with organizing sources and extracting key insights. And of course, for career prep, you could actually create a GPT that can generate personalized resumes, help you practice interview questions, and also get you set up for talking to a hiring manager. With GPTs, you can create a personalized AI assistant that really suits your academic needs. And again, this is going to make the whole learning process more efficient. One of the most fun examples we've heard of a custom GPT was from a professor who created a custom GPT of himself by uploading 20 of his past research papers and several online articles. He now talks to it, and he actually calls the GPT Virtual Dave, and that allows him to ideate on new projects and research ideas. I'm now going to show you how to build a GPT, and we're going to walk through it step by step. No coding is required, and anyone can build a GPT. It's as simple as starting a conversation. First, you're going to want to navigate into Explore GPT, which will take you to this page here. You're then going to navigate to the top right-hand corner of the screen, and you're going to click Create. When you click Create, that drops you into this Create and Configure page. By default, you will sit in Configure. However, you can tab between Create and Configure. The Create tab is where you can build a GPT through conversation. Simply add in your prompt or explain to the GPT builder the type of GPT you want to build, and the Create tab will then populate the Configure tab for you. The Configure tab is actually where you can build the GPT directly. I personally prefer the Configure tab because it gives me a high level of control over the sections and ultimately my GPT's behavior. The key to a great GPT is well-crafted instructions. Let's walk through how to do this. I'm now going to show you how to build a GPT that helps to explain tricky or abstract concepts in a way that's easy to understand. Okay, first I'm going to give my GPT a name, and I'm going to call this GPT the Concept Clarifier GPT. Now I'm going to add in a short description, and the description is incredibly important. This is what another student will see if you share the GPT with them. You can see that we have identified that the Concept Clarifier GPT helps you understand complex topics by breaking them down into simple explanations, advanced insights, and real-world analogies. Now what I need to do is add in the instructions, and the instructions define how the GPT will function. The instruction settings is the most important part of the GPT. So let me walk you through step by step how I would create these instructions. I'm going to expand the view so that you can see what I'm doing. The first section, I am outlining an overview. I'm saying you are a concept clarifier GPT, an expert explainer that provides a simple, beginner-friendly explanation. A more advanced or detailed explanation for intermediate to advanced learners, and a useful analogy or real-life comparison that clarifies the concept. I'm now going to add in the style of the GPT. Here I'm saying your style, use clear, concise sentences, maintain accuracy and consistency in your explanations. When possible, break down complex topics into small logical steps. Again, what I'm doing is I'm really spelling out the behavior of the GPT, what it's supposed to do, and its style. I'm then going to add in a series of examples for the GPT to observe so that it knows the type of output that I'm looking for. We're going to add in a section and call it user message example. And then we're going to add a series of user inputs and the desired outputs that we want from the GPT. First of all, you can see we've added in user input. What is a credit score and why does it matter? And we're giving the desired output. The beginner explanation is explain in plain language with minimal jargon. And now we're going to do the advanced explanation. And you can see here that when we're asking for an advanced explanation, we want deeper technical details and relevant scientific terminology. Finally, what we're looking for is we want an analogy to be added in. And so we're wrapping up with analogy or example. Provide at least one analogy or real-life example to illustrate the concept. Okay, so now that we have the core instructions in place, I want my GPT to have access to additional knowledge. The knowledge enhances the GPT's ability to explain concepts. Think of the knowledge section as a way to make your GPT a domain expert. I'm going to close the instructions and we're going to come down to the knowledge section. And we're going to upload a file, which is a scientific concepts guides for biology. One thing to note is you can add a conversation starter. This is essentially a preloaded prompt that allows yourself or your fellow students to know the types of questions to ask the GPT. Here we could add something like explain homeostasis. And again, we could add in a series of conversation starters just to help other students know the types of questions to ask. Let's scroll down and take a look at capabilities. Capabilities is really the area that allows you to turn on and off different powers within the GPT. For example, if you wanted your GPT to go out and reference information in real time, you could turn on the web search capability. If you're doing a regular writing activity and you want the GPT to generate a canvas view, you can turn on Canvas, and the same for image generation and data analysis. In this example, I really just want the GPT to reference the knowledge, but I do want DALL-E turned on so that I can generate a profile picture. The profile picture is how you identify the GPT in your left-hand side panel. Okay, now that we have an image, one thing I want to note that's really important is that code interpreter and data analysis must be turned on if you want the GPT to generate downloadable documents. You will not be able to get the output into a Word document or an Excel format unless you have code interpreter turned on. Great. So let's just quickly check to see if this GPT is working. You can come over to the preview window and you can ask the GPT anything to test its performance. This is really important because you can actually tweak the instructions from within this configure tab if the output you get from the preview window is not what you're looking for. And please don't be discouraged if the first version isn't perfect. Something that we should all be thinking about in ChatGPT is how we continue to iterate, explore, and expand our thinking when we're using AI. AI is not perfect, as we've spoken about before, and so testing it, tweaking it is the best way to learn how to use it. Okay, very quickly, let's test to see if it can answer the homeostasis question. Great, so at first we have a beginner explanation. And we now have the advanced explanation. We also now have the analogy. So you can see that the way in which we configured these instructions, where we were really specific about the style and then the output that we were looking for, the GPT has followed these instructions perfectly. What's incredible about this GPT is I can now come to it anytime I want a concept clarified. This is going to really help me with my study prep, especially if I'm preparing for something like a biology exam. So we can see that the GPT is working, which is great. And so now what I need to do to publish this GPT and to make sure that it's live is I navigate back to the Create tab. And you can see here that I have the ability to add people and to share it with people. But by default, the GPT is private to you when you create it. You can see that currently the GPT is invite only. I'd always recommend that before you share it, you publish the GPT and it is private to you, and you test it to make sure that it is working in an optimal way. Of course, you have the ability to share it across your workspace if your admin allows you to, and you can also link people to the GPT. I simply click Update to publish the GPT. Now, just note, if I type in one of my colleagues, you also have the ability to dictate the type of interaction another student can have with your GPT. You can share just the chat so that they can chat with it, but you can also give them access to view your settings. So if you think that the instructions that you have created in the GPT you have created is really valuable, you can share that with others so that they can create their own. You also now have the ability to have other students come and help you edit the GPT so you can partner in a single space. And now I'm going to click Update. When you click on View GPT, that is going to take you to the live GPT. You can see that this GPT is operating in a way that we like. It's managing and following the instructions. And so we have a GPT that's ready to go. Please note, if you want to come back and edit the GPT at any time, you can. Simply click on the name of the GPT and you can complete certain actions. Editing the GPT will take you back into the configure window. And you also have the ability to hide from sidebar and also pin to your sidebar as well. Perfect. Thank you so much. I hope that this was helpful and you now understand how to use projects and how to build a GPT.